And now we turn to our second spotlight section this week, and it's the Made by Google event earlier in the week, in which we learnt about the announcement of the Google Pixel 7 series and the Google Pixel Watch. Mariam, it's that time of year again, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. It's when Warren gets his hopes up and all that and all the dreams and makes the pre-orders. It's the best time of year for Warren. It's like celebration day.
Yeah, and everyone else is a bit bored, aren't they?
Exactly.
we, we
So
we shouldn't criticize what we don't understand, as I believe Bob Dylan said in The Times We Are Changing. So let's understand it, and then we can criticize it. Warren, what have we got?
So here we are talking about the Google or Made by Google event, something that we have been pining away for, and all those leaks and rumor mills and whatever. And finally, it dawned on us finally, and there was the Google event. I tell you, I was I was up early because I had to go to do some work. And then, of course, it was at 7 a.m. So I was kind of in between, traveling to the workplace and all of that. But then I had, my phone tuned to it with my headset, and I was able to listen to that. And as soon as I got to my destination, I transitioned to the computer while working on stuff and constantly refreshing that Google Store page because I was kind of being reminiscent of what happened back last year when I, after added the 512 gig of Pixel to my card, I went to check out and I got that dreaded 505 error or whatever that thing was out of stock. And so I was crossing my fingers, and midway, even before the uh, the thing came to a close, I think it was Brian, what's his name, or Ryan, one of the guys from Pixel that was talking about it. I think it was during his speech that after refreshing, then because prior to that, when I was refreshing, all I could see, the first item was the Pixel 6a. And when I refresh again, I see Pixel 7. I'm like, what in the world just happened? So I quickly clicked on that and was able to, pre-order that. But so the whole idea here we are, and some of the things that excites me, or some of the things that excite me about it all, uh, the first thing has to do with that Titan M2. And so basically, this is the same technology that protects, Google Cloud data centers and things like that. And this is also the same security that a lot of the banks and government sites use. So having that on our phone means a lot to me because the more protection, the more privacy, the more uh, being private or your stuff is being protected is good. And number two is that protected computing that they talked about a lot. And this, focuses on three key areas. And I hope my memory serves me right. But so minimizing the data, footprint. This is where um, it shrinks the amount of personal identifiable data that goes out from your device. So kind of things are anonymized or whatever and things like that. And then, that de-identifying data, meaning data is not linked to its user. Because a lot of times when I use something, of course, when we use something from our phones, it identifies us, whether you're coming from the UK, you're coming from the United States, you're coming from Egypt or India or wherever in Africa, even in Mongolia. I love my Mongolian ministers there on the Mongolian realm. Let's not forget those guys. So we don't want someone to be identifying us like that. It's not good. And so to see this as part of the package, to me, it means a lot. And then the other one has to do with the restricting access to one's data uh, with end-to-end encryption. I think that is really neat, and this will result in things like live translate. So if I'm translating something live, it's not gonna identify me, and also things like spam detection and messages, including things like smart replies, which we know. So all these things are going to be totally done on my device, and anything from the internet, is also going to be kind of minimized. I mean, that data access is going to be minimized because we all know everyone used to complain about Google. The complaint is that, Google sees a lot of our data. Google does a lot of this and that with our data. I am so glad to see Google taking on a different path regarding these things. And probably we may have the European GDPR or whatever to thank for, because if you're going to operate in those countries, you got to abide by those rules of those countries. And so we're seeing the fruits of this European thing coming into fruition here. And I'm excited about these new pathways that Google is taking.
Yeah, and they also mentioned a VPN by Google One that they're going to be providing for like actual internet traffic on these Pixel 7 devices later this year. So that's going to be nice to have. And they even claim that all the data will, like, Google can't even track the data even if you're using that VPN, but it's a free option that you'll have. So that's actually a big deal, I think.
Okay, if you're into security, that's great. I'm not excited. Can you excite me about the Pixel 7? Why are you ordering it? What's so great about the Pixel 7? If you're sales staff and you want me to buy one, why would I buy one? What would I notice that's different to use this thing? Why would I bother if I've already got a very good Samsung phone, for example?
If you have gotten a Samsung phone, and if you are invested into the Samsung ecosystem, probably you could stay with your Samsung phone. However, the whole idea of this googly thing is the fact that now all these devices are going to be able to work together, whether be it the watch or be it your home display. The one part that they talked about, which is also an exciting part of the whole deal, is that these things now will seamlessly interact with each other. You don't have to say, hey, I need to pull the home app on my phone in order to do this. If you have that watch on your wrist, you can do that as well. And so it's part of the total seamless integration that makes it all come together. And this is the first time that we're seeing such tight integration coming from Google. And I, for one, am liking that whole idea. And one of the reasons why one should get these things to have things be in sync with each other. Just imagine.
We've had that for ages, just not with Google. So I'm not very excited yet. You haven't won this game yet. You haven't excited me, I'm afraid.
Which one have you had?
I don't
this
think
way?
you're Google's target audience. I don't think they're trying to compete with Samsung
No.
or OnePlus. They're happy if you're on Android. And to be honest,
You mean she's
they're
not a
even
child and doesn't need a Fisher-Price toy? No, I agree with that.
Exactly.
Yeah, like it's not. It's an incremental, boring phone. There's nothing interesting.
There's a lot of camera improvements, which for a lot of blind people doesn't mean
I don't care.
anything. But
Yeah.
No, because
like I
what
said,
blind people
not
think.
the target audience.
No, what blind people think is that either OCR gets better the higher the camera is. What the real situation is you need a minimum floor for that. So as long as you meet that minimum floor, you'll scan text.
The voice dictation, Google Assistant works much better on it.
Better
just
than
Pixel
what,
things
on the 6?
Pixel things are what's gonna bring you over. If you're using a Pixel 6 Pro, I don't know that, besides Warren, I don't know that you're going to want to upgrade.
No. Basically, Google phones pixelate, don't they? That's the thing. They're pixelating. They're not very good.
So, John, why are you ordering one?
Yeah, John.
Because I always
what
have to
makes
have the
you want-
newest phone.
So it's not, you're not particularly excited. It's just a new toy. Is that basically the
kind of.
reason?
I'm gonna
Fair enough.
sell or trade in my Pixel 6 that I have and upgrade.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
But what will it do better apart from dictation that would justify all that money?
There's the frame thing, isn't there? I don't know if that's a 7 feature or going to be rolled out generally. Where
I think you can ask that question about any phone these days. Is like, what does this do? I think for at least 5 years now, like no phone has come out and done something mind blowing that you couldn't do with the previous phone. I mean, we've reached peak phone a while ago.
Exactly. And so that whole question is absolutely meaningless, because if we're to use that maxim, then no one would be buying it. No. Let me finish. If we're to go by that, frankly, we would have stopped buying phones back in 2017.
No, because people.
No, it's true.
It's
It's
not
true, because
like it's $850 or pounds anyway. It's not meaningless. Why should you buy it? Is a reasonable question.
The whole thing is, why would I be buying a new Samsung, 2022, when the S21 does the very same exact thing? Or why would I be, wanting to buy the 2023 Samsung that's coming out when the S22 does the same thing? If we were to ask that question, no one would be buying any device. But then, as Google, as we know it with Pixel phones, some of these things are exclusives, and you're not going to get some of these features on other phones besides the Pixel 7
that's what I want to know.
Later
Then what's
on.
the Pixel 7 going to do that's new? Then that's what I want to know.
That's what we've been talking about all this
the
time.
VPN and things,
and then also the guided photography that we talked in. Ed mentioned, that's all going to be exclusive on the Pixel 7. I do believe that these things will trickle down to other Pixel phones. And my hope is not that this would only trickle down to other Pixel phones, but frankly, it would be a good thing to see this come to any phone running Android, because, we have blind people using different brands out there. And if we care about blind people, I think we should find a way to kind of trickle this thing down to every Android phone there that is capable of doing this type of thing. So I'm excited about it. And like we already don't have it, so we can't prejudge something that we don't have. And so until we have it and put it through its paces, or everything that we say, or maybe, this is not bad, that's all speculative, and I don't operate in that realm.
Yes, and I also let me add on. I also want to add on your point, Warren, that actually sometimes there could be some features that, well, the company might not promote whatever, which is actually dumb of them. But when you get the phone, you might see that there's a couple new things that you didn't notice. But at the same time, like, I feel like the phones that are like close into series, like probably the S21, S22, they don't have much difference. Like you won't really notice anything. While on the other hand, if you got the S20 and then got the S22, then you probably would notice the difference. However, again, there's some probably improvements, bug fixes, whatever, the processor, all that, all that. All that shit and all that. So basically,
the other thing is, I mean, I do think asking why would I buy that phone is a legitimate question, because you might say an answer because if you've got, for example, a Pixel 4, this is going to be a huge upgrade, for instance. Or when I bought my Samsung Galaxy S20 FE, I bought that because I remember reading when the S10 came out and people were saying, if you've got an S9, which I had at the time and still have, it's probably not worth upgrading to the S10. But if you've got an S7 or an S8, it probably is. So when the S20 came out, they said, for S8 and S9 people, this is probably a worthwhile upgrade now because it's got so many more improvements, and and it has. And the other thing is that because it's newer, I can still get Android updates. So there are, even if it's not that terribly exciting, there are good reasons to upgrade if you have an older phone.
Yeah,
It can be a very good reason.
That's a good point. They're not trying to sell these phones to people with S22s, you know. It's people who are ready for a new phone, but want to know, should I get the Pixel or should I get a Samsung or should I get an iPhone? And the fact that the Pixel 7 starts at $600, whereas the iPhone and the Galaxy phones start at $800, that's a huge chunk of change right there. And you're still getting a flagship phone with a lot of good features that are on par with those phones.
Do you get Pixel Buds with the phone, or do you have to buy those separately, or do we not know?
If you pre-order right now, they have a deal where if you get the Pixel 7, you'll get a $100 gift card for the Google store. If you get the Pixel 7 Pro, you'll get a $200 gift card. So you could spend that on Pixel Buds if you wanted to, or anything else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we should.
Another thing is that, you know, this new Tensor 2 G2 brings better improvements to areas like power consumption during activities like speech recognition, video streaming, music and speech translation services. And then it also brings improvements to calling. And that's one thing they talked about, you know, so voice assistant photography, and the most secure, you know, Pixel phone ever, in the sense that these things are going to have a better access to this. Call clarity is something they're talking about. I know a lot of people don't care about calls, but a lot of blind people like to make calls. So I'm looking forward to seeing this thing come to fruition, because I want to compare it with what we already have and see how clear those calls are going to be as Google counts it to be.
And one good thing...
Good battery life is always exciting, especially if you've got a really old rubbishy phone and the battery's got really bad. Then having a new phone with a great battery, that's going to be exciting.
Exactly.
And
bad battery means no bueno.
And one thing the Pixel 7 series does have that the Pixel 6 series didn't have is face unlock. So that might interest a lot of people, considering that was one of the major complaints, you know, with sighted users and blind users alike, is the fingerprint sensor in the Pixel 6 series. Now, they have improved the fingerprint sensor, like it's a newer iteration of the hardware, so it could be a better fingerprint sensor. In fact, I expect it to be better, but if that's just not your thing, they have face unlock now.
That would be good, especially improving the fingerprint sensor, because, you know, if you buy an Apple phone, you only get one or the other. If you get one of the SE ones, which aren't the flagship ones, you get the fingerprint sensor. But for Apple, if you want the flagship phones, you have to use Face ID. And I don't want to. I like my phone to give me the choice.
Mm-hmm.
And Google's do that, Samsung's do that. Basically, everybody else seems to do that now, apart from Apple. So they
Even
seem to
really
be shooting.
budget Android phones, or Nokia does.
Yeah, they seem to be shooting themselves in the foot with there, really, don't they, Apple? But oh well, we can just watch and laugh.
I do want to mention, though, that the face unlock will not be something that one could use with, say, your banking. You'll have to either use that fingerprint or your PIN for those type of transactions. However, I think that what people were kind of upset about is the fact that when I shut off the screen and then when I go to use the fingerprint, sometimes it's not very fast, or sometimes it says not recognized or whatever. And to have this face unlock, I think will solve a lot of that problem, like John had said, because you have both there, as you guys have indicated. And so if I want to quickly unlock my phone, I could just use that face unlock as to, you know, trying to find where that fingerprint reader is. So I think Google made a mistake in the Pixel 6 series by not including that face unlock, even though this is using your front-facing camera to do the job, as to the type of face unlock which we had on the Pixel 4, something we've never had on an Android phone, is totally different. And so hence the reason this one would just be good for unlocking the phone, but not necessarily for transactions.
Yeah, I think it's good that you have to use your finger for payments, for example, because I always worry that otherwise you could have someone pick up your phone, point it at your face, and pay for their shopping, and then put your phone back, walk away. And you, as a blind person, you wouldn't even realise until later when your phone notified you the payment had gone. I mean,
Yeah.
nasty people might steal the phone as well, of course.
Yeah,
but
like
Yeah,
you
and
give
that's
someone your phone to look at something and then
So
I
I
gotta pay for it.
yeah, I prefer fingerprint because if someone steals my phone, and I haven't touched it and done the fingerprint, they're not getting anything off that phone. So it sort of disincentivizes stealing a phone then, because there's no point if they can't use it.
Yeah, and that's how it is on Samsung phones too. Even if you have Face Unlock enabled, it will only unlock your phone. You still have to use your fingerprint, or if you don't have a fingerprint, it'll ask for your PIN, like if you're making payments or something.
I believe on Apple you can use Face ID for bank payments.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true,
but
because
that's because of the security of the different Face IDs. So
Yeah.
so Apple.
No,
Samsung.
no, I don't like it.
Yes, but it is more secure on Apple than it is on Android.
But this is why, because Apple has depth mapping because of the sensors they're using. It's not a regular camera, so
They're not using a camera.
their concern is like not holding it up to a blind person and them not knowing. Their concern is holding up a picture of the person and tricking it that way. Because if there's depth mapping that you're getting from, rather than just an image, then it knows this is just a flat surface that I'm looking at. I'm not going to unlock right now.
What if you've got a really flat, thin face, like as thin as a photo? What if you've got squashed?
Well, but this is why, this is why the Pixel 4 is the only one that is on par with what Apple has. And that was based on that solely that, people didn't, care about, because it was supposed to do other things that was not very good. But when it comes to that face unlock, because that's the only thing that you have on that Pixel 4, and therefore it's the same kind of idea that you have on the Apple face unlock. And so until we have that, the payment will be authenticated by either that fingerprint reader or that PIN.
I like that. I like having the choice.
I like that too.
So was there also a watch? Did they mention a watch in the event? I'm trying to recall.
Yeah, of course, both you and I. So, so we're talking about the watch, John, and I think we kind of got carried by the phone because there's a big boy in the room. Now, the only thing I didn't like with the Google is the pricing. I think it's a little bit more expensive when you compare it to the competition out there. For example, Samsung's offering this year starts at $280 to Google's starting point at $349, $350. It's a little bit above the competition. And my only concern, I mean, I got the $400 one, that's the LTE version. But then my concern is I don't like little girly phones. And this thing, I think is like 41 millimeter?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm kind of a little bit queasy about that.
I was going to ask you about that, because I remember that watch you had sitting on your desk for a month.
I gave it to my wife.
When you finally put it on, you were like, "This is a girly watch."
Exactly.
And that was a 40 millimeter. So
that was a 40 millimeter. So this one is just a millimeter. And so here I am. I'm going to be running around with a girl-looking phone, and I'm not happy about that. I'll tell you that.
I think you need to embrace your feminine side, Warren.
Mm-hmm.
No, this is all El Macho. El Macho.
but you drink the Google Kool-Aid, so once you get that thing on your wrist, you're gonna be like, "This is absolutely beautiful." That 1 millimeter really makes a difference.
Yeah.
Thank you, John. I'm gonna try to hypnotize myself.
Well, you know, some men, you know, every millimeter makes the difference.
Exactly. But I'm looking forward to it, and I can't wait to. John, if you get yours before mine, you unbox it, because I know mine is probably going to be delayed, because I don't want to.
You're
I
waiting
want
for
to
your
save
gift
that
card.
$200. Because there's no need for me to buy it and then try to return it or whatever, and then go buy it again. So, but
Where are you getting this gift card from?
no, it's not
Is
a
that
gift
from
card.
buying the watch?
It's a store credit. If you buy the phone from Google, if you buy the Pro, like the one I got, the 512 gig version, I got a $200 in-store credit that you can only use on the Google store, and that's
was
why
that
I
with
want
your
to use
last
that.
when you bought your last
Uh,
phone? That was that.
No, the phone he pre-ordered now.
The one I pre-ordered.
So I think they're waiting for it to ship or to be delivered or something
But
before they just
presumably you
send
can't-
him the
If you
store credit.
but if you return that phone, you don't get to keep the
No.
Well,
I'm not
they
talking
won't
about
give you the-
no. I'm not talking about returning the phone. But what I'm saying is that I could still go ahead and check out the watch that I have saved in my saved for later, which would be charging me for $400. And then when I get the $200 in-store credit for the phone that I pre-ordered, then I could return that watch and then reorder it and apply the $200
I see. So the
in-store
credit was with the phone, not the
Yes.
watch.
Yeah, it's with the phone, but
he
it's
just
not
hasn't
yet
gotten
there.
it yet because he doesn't
Yes.
have the phone yet. Yeah.
Either way, yours will arrive first, John, because Warren's will be lost in his desk for months. So,
Yeah, like next.
It's not
next
about the
year.
arrival date. It's about when you
no,
actually
it's about the
open it.
Warren finding it date.
Next
But
year,
this time I'm
it'll
going to
be
be
like, oh,
up
happy.
on
We'll be
Ed.
like, oh, happy 2023. Have you found your new phone yet?
Listen here. Listen here. I am looking at this thing like a hawk. I'm going to keep an eye on when these things arrive. And also, I got some other stuff from Google that I want to unbox for the podcast, like the new Chromecast Google TV. I want to, do an unboxing of that and comparing it to the 2020. And so I'm looking for, I think that one would be here on Monday or something. So I'm keeping my eye open for all these things coming.
Did have Google announced anything new in terms of the they don't call them Google Home speakers anymore, do they? What do they call them now? Nest.
They did not, but the thing they did announce is the Pixel tablet, which one of the big features of it. Now they didn't mention if it comes included or if you have to buy it separately, but the tablet has a speaker dock that you sit it on to charge it, so that it acts as a Nest Hub while it's docked. But then you can also pick it up, and it will be fully charged, and you can use it as a tablet.
That is so not coming with it. That is so a paid for extra.
If
I
I had to
agree,
bet
Ed.
on
I
it,
don't
I
think
would.
Google is going to let people
Absolutely
have
no
it.
chance.
In fact, by not mentioning it, they basically confirmed that it's not included.
Exactly.
Also,
Yeah.
do we think the Google tablet will be a bitter pill to swallow?
Well, we'll see what it looks like, because, like I said, though, sometimes it's
But Warren, a bitter pill.
It's so hard to
tablet?
kind of prejudge something that you don't have. And another thing that Google rolled out that actually they rolled out before the 6 was that the Wi-Fi, the new mesh systems, they're like $199, or you can get 2 for how much? I think they have it discounted.
One is $199, 2 is $299, and 3 is $399.
$399, yeah, something like that.
And they also announced the new version of the doorbell.
It'd be good if it was only actually $399. That'd be really cheap, wouldn't it?
Yeah, if
rather
you
than
get 3.
$399.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so the only thing I don't like about those is because, like, the previous generation that I have sitting here, doubles as a speaker, so you can actually play music on it. But so I'm thinking, hey, if I get this, I might as well, sell this other, 3-pack that I have. But I don't know, or else have all 6 in my home and be blasted in Wi-Fi.
I am actually still using my first generation Google Wi-Fi's,
You have
and
the
I've
first one?
not had it. Yeah, I have no
I don't-
issues with them. So
Yeah.
I don't
I
have
don't really
any
need to
Google
upgrade.
Wi-Fi's. Mine are other ones, and my only Google speaker is a very old Google Home Mini from 2018 or something. But then I
Yeah, if
bought
it's-
That's what
I
I've got
had
as well.
a Sonos soundbar since then, which has Google on there as well. And then I've got it on my phone, so I haven't felt the need for a new one because I bought another Wi-Fi system from one of the UK network
I go through,
landline network
I
providers.
go through routers a lot, and
Yeah.
the last 3 or 4 years, I've gone through like 5 different routers. Finally settling on Google Mesh.
Are they stored on your desk? Does your desk have some
Well,
weird effect on them?
I give a lot to. I think I only have maybe 2 left that are. I think I have the Nighthawk, from the Netgear people. That's the other one that I have left, and I think I have another one from, I don't remember, maybe Linksys. Like
Well, yours says
Velop or
Google.
something.
Yours says Google Fi, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Or
no,
Google
that's
Fi.
that.
Google
Yeah,
Fi, because
yeah,
it loves me.
It's Fi. We love Fi.
Yeah, yeah. That's why you
So-
can't forget me.
No, it would be a travesty to forget Fi. But those are some of the things hardware-wise that Google rolled out for this Google Meet event. And so look forward to our unboxings coming up, maybe next week, God willing.
But basically, phone-wise, incremental rather than revolutionary, do we think? The verdict, if I was going to
Yeah.
ask you to... Yeah.
To me, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, new processor, better than, the previous processor. And most
So it's going to be
especially,
faster.
yeah.
Same RAM,
Um,
though, on both devices.
Yeah, same
Both
storage.
Same as
Yeah.
Same
what,
storage,
the
yeah.
6.
And same price.
Same main
8012.
same main
Yeah.
camera, although they've
Yeah.
upgraded the front-facing camera and the telephoto lens, and I think even the wide angle is upgraded.
The wide
You
angle
haven't-
was upgraded.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm afraid you've lost the
Man,
game. You
it's
haven't sold it to
Yorlingtons.
me. You haven't sold it to me, I'm afraid.
No, Mariam, it's
But-
Yorlingtons, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just I can't contain my excitement. I think you can feel it,
I'm happy genuinely now, I'm not being sarcastic. I'm happy for people who need a new phone and get one and enjoy it, but I won't be
Just
buying
give
one.
me this one.
It's not bad.
Just
It's an
don't get this
okay
one.
phone, but also because you talked about the watch, and for it to be that expensive, I don't think I'm getting more like any more features that I would need to pay for all that money for.
Well, things like Face ID and fingerprint ID, I've had that for the last 5 years. I don't really know.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me though, I should mention, it was cracking me up how Google was throwing shade at Apple during the event. They mentioned that they were flattered when other companies emulate their features on their phone, and that they gave a couple examples of how the Pixel 2 had always on display, and their Pixel phones have had car crash detection for 3 years now, which those are like,
Yeah, Apple
for
have just
people who don't-
announced that
yeah,
as if it was their
those
new
are like
idea,
two of the
haven't
big
they?
announcements. Yeah.